Alright, y'all, we about to be live on YouTube.
I believe that the mother wheel is real.
For sure.
3 seconds. Wow. And now, yep, we are live on YouTube in 1 second. Live on Facebook. Every time I come in the press room, you're in the press room. Working on our Stars Hottronic heat press. Using all the vinyl. Making all the picture tees. I like vinyl.
I'm about to just load these boxes up. I'm out your way.
Man, you gotta be a crazy little brother to get fired on your day off. What you get caught stealing boxes for?
Man, I didn't get caught stealing no boxes. He said he caught me though.
We get our rent paid.
Why don't you go in there and ask the girls real fast to see if they help us pay our rent?
Don't sound like a bad plan at all.
What's up, Pop?
What's up, Smokey?
I'm trying to set up a meeting with the girls, man.
Okay.
Y'all wanna help me and Craig pay our rent?
Craig still owe me money from the last time he got me. He gotta learn a lesson. He shouldn't be stealing. Don't ask him to tell that girl from last night to give him some money.
What they say? They said it's slow for real.
I'm about to just ask boss when we get our job that night.
Of course you can.
How you guys doing, man? It's Real Neighborhood News. I'm your boy Peanut, aka the CEO-Resource. Got my man SMED. Stacking SMED. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing real good, bro. What's up, everybody? Man, y'all, welcome to the Real Neighborhood News, man. Monday. What's the day, bro?
Monday, man. Yeah.
The date.
Oh, the actual date.
It's July the 18th.
18.
Take a point from Peanut. You don't know.
July 18th.
Yeah.
Can't take a point
Thanks,
on Real
King.
Neighborhood News. It's only for legendary, man. I can make, come on, man. We do retraction
They're allowed to
statements
do
for the
it
Real
now.
Neighborhood News.
Now take a point.
Yeah, take a point from SMED. If they ain't a caller.
That actually is, but they're calling too soon. All right, y'all, listen, man. We got some quick stories that we want to blow through real quick.
For sure.
Then we're gonna allow you guys to call in, and then have our guest and our host talk about these stories. Okay.
Yes.
So let me get to our first story, and then I'll play it. This first story here is this man right here was found with like 6 or 7 kids in his car, 12-year-olds,
Yes.
13-year-olds, a bunch of teenagers.
Mhm.
And he had a young lady in his car. And he was drunk driving, and then I'll play the story. These are the police officers pulling him over, and then you can hear for yourself.
After this DWI arrest, investigators discovered that girl was 12. Prosecutors say Guthrie had an ongoing sexual relationship with the girl after meeting on Snapchat. Though that is not what one of the teens told police that night.
Yeah, she knows his kid.
The now 13-year-old told investigators she became pregnant and had a miscarriage when she was just 12, and that she might be pregnant again. Prosecutors believe Guthrie also may have assaulted her twin sister and another girl as well. He is now facing a charge of raping a minor, as well as 6 counts of child abuse for allegedly driving drunk with the kids in the car.
I thought you guys were going to crash around that bend. He's going way too fast.
So that's the first story of a man got a 12-year-old pregnant, raping multiple kids, and could have also raped this girl's twin sister.
Wow, man.
Can you imagine that?
Hell no.
But I don't never see these stories getting played in the news, but we're going to play them right here, right now. All right, and then this story here is about, now I don't know if abortions are illegal inside of Ohio anymore or not, but a 10-year-old was raped by an illegal alien, all right, and got her pregnant, and she had to leave Ohio in order to go and get an abortion. So last thing I had heard was Ohio was a state that it was legal to have abortions in, right?
It very well may be, but it might have had something to do with the age and all that kind of stuff. They weren't trying to touch it. But I didn't think it was illegal here.
Yeah, I think he did it under the guise of not trying to be caught for it, because if you take them there, they're going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, his thought pattern probably was, let me get out of town to where I can use a fake name, fictitious name, something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? That's probably what his thought pattern was, trying to.
Is this the same drunk driver?
No, it's different.
Happened here in Ohio.
County Children's Services after the child's mom reported the pregnancy. Detective Hune also confirmed that on June 30th, a week after that initial report, the girl traveled to Indiana for an abortion. Because Fuentes is living in the country illegally, Detective Hune said there was no way of knowing Fuentes had a criminal record or if that is even his real name. Hune detailed their contact with Fuentes yesterday, saying he admitted to the crime.
On July 12th, we issued a search warrant, served Harrison with a search warrant for his DNA. He consented, waived his right, and spoke with us and admitted to having vaginal intercourse with the victim on
Unbelievable. Raping a 10-year-old, get her pregnant.
What I would like to see is a special task force, like where they put together these task force for these rappers. They put a task force together for people that are doing small things inside the community that really don't really affect it that much. This right here is something prevalent, is insidious, is to continue to keep on bearing bad fruit. How come there's not a concerted effort of stopping this when they put all this manpower into rappers and things of that nature?
Our next story is a Vermilion police officer arrested for strangling his girlfriend. There was kids in the house, strangled her. He did eventually stop before she died. And now he is currently on administrative leave. Strangling his girlfriend.
Administrative leave from where?
From his job.
He was a cop.
Oh, he's a police officer.
He's a police officer. Strangled his girlfriend. Sorry,
Got paid vacation for it.
And
then our last story, and then we're going to go in and build on them and let everybody have an opportunity to call. You guys, you can't call the show 937-991-0025. The last story is an Ohio woman arrested randomly shooting man at an intersection. And so she pulls up next to him, shoots through her passenger window at them, and then drives off. So she got away with it, but then the police came back around and spotted her driving. When they pulled up on her, she had a gun on her seat. They took her in for questioning, and she admitted to shooting the person in the arm randomly, and also admitted to a shooting the previous day, another random shooting. So she shot 2 people just randomly. And how this story all ties in with us here in Dayton is because I think like a couple of weeks ago on Salem Avenue, people were reporting their car just being shot at while they drove down the street. So I don't know if this is a new TikTok challenge or what, but
yeah, it's something, because not that long ago the guy in Brooklyn did the same thing. He came out of the flat, he shot one way, then he shot the other way, and he tried to run back inside the brownstone. It was locked, so he ran down off the porch. So it's something.
And I'll give you another one. There's one of my friends just inboxed me today about this one that happened in Louisiana. A person left a long, lengthy post, but basically they were driving out in their car with 2 grandkids, and they shot the window out, and they shot another car behind them that had like a guy on his way to basic training or something like that. So like the kids are fine, but she got shot in the arm. I think it grazed her lip and hit her shoulder. So it's something else going on. I think where smoke, there's fire.
All right, and the last story will be a part of our conversation that we'll have. That this was a post on Instagram.
Not paying for everybody. It's your birthday food, but I'm not doing it. It's 18. Why don't you not pay for all y'all food though?
That sounds like you.
That is me.
So a woman goes out for a birthday dinner. Her boyfriend is there. She invites 18 friends with them, and she expects him to pay for everybody. Now, some people are saying this is just a skit, but other people are saying that this is an actual event that takes place. But the bigger question is, we debated this in the metaverse one time, is with a man, if he can financially pay for everything, is he expected to do that, or should it be 50-50? So 50-50 versus the man pays for everything. This is a debatable topic that we'll have on the podcast today. And then we also have Kenya Baker on the show today, and she is going to talk about her situation of being assaulted by the police and she is a community activist, and she wants to talk about her experience and what actually happened to the police officer who assaulted her. So, allegedly assaulted her, okay? Because I think it's still being litigated. So we're gonna get to all of that today on the Real Neighborhood News. So let's start off with just the first story. Kenya, when you hear about a man raping a 12-year-old, raping her sister, raping her friends, they're all in the car drinking and driving together, and he's doing it so casually, he's actually drinking and driving with the victims of his raping right there with him. What does that say about him being comfortable about doing these type of things, or what's your view on it in general?
I mean, it's a travesty. I remember when I was growing up as a child that they would have this news segment where they would say, do you know where your children are at a certain time? Like, where were these children's parents? You know, why were these children even allowed to be with this man? How old did he say he was? To me, he looks visibly,
41.
He looks older.
He's 41.
He looks older, and we're talking about a 12-year-old. So I believe that as adults, we need to find more ways of wrapping our arms around our children and securing their locations and being aware of, who they're with and what they're doing. She met this man online, and it's haunting, the things that are happening online right now with our children, and we just leave them with these phones like babysitters, and they're dangerous places to be. The web is a dangerous place to be. Absolutely. For a child who hasn't even finished developing mentally to make logical decisions. The front of your brain doesn't develop, whereas your frontal lobe logic and reasoning takes place until you're 25 years old. So let's be real about maintaining contact with our children even up through college, and making sure that our children are making rational decisions that are based on logic. Because at the end of the day, these perverts, our society has bred them. They're here. They are here. Pornhub and everything else, they're here. And a lot of them have no consideration for age. And age does matter. Ask R. Kelly. Age does matter.
So I also want to raise the stakes and also talk about the Montgomery County prosecutors who just recently got arrested for him being involved in, molestation, rape, and things of that nature. So when you think about this system, like we were talking about it before, like what will be the course of action to deter? Because like a lot of times, like when you give a brother 100 years based on him selling drugs, that sends a message to people saying, you know what I'm saying? There's something out there like that. But when you giving people 7 years or probation for like violating our valuable asset, which is children, and then when you go and look and see that it's rooted in a prosecutor who has sentenced these cases, and this person is found to be that way, something else needs to be done. We need a civil action, like an actual civil lawsuit to look into every case he's tried, especially when it deals with children.
So what's this case that you're talking about, bro?
So his name is Amos. He joined Montgomery County Prosecutor's Office in May 2000. According to December 2013, released from the prosecutor's office, announcing his promotion to supervisor attorney of the intake of grand jury division. This is in Montgomery
And
County.
what did he do?
So he is charged with multiple. There we go. So he ended up resigning because he had rape. So he's accused of rape.
Who?
The Montgomery County assistant prosecutor.
What?
Yes.
When does this happen?
This happened on.
Is this recent?
Yes. It happened last week. I think it happened on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. It was late Friday evening is when I saw the news article.
I just wanted to read the comments. Griselda Haynes, she said, "Afternoon, family. What's up with you? Jessica, what's going on with you? Kevin Eves, what's up with you?" Yep. Said she's a barbarian. Lock her up now.
You're talking about the lady who was out there talking about the food for the 18 people.
Oh,
dang!
Geez, lock her up.
But to me, I mean, there is a problem. There needs to be addressed. There needs to be a task force because, like I said before, they're wasting all this time and taxpayer dollars on or people that try to support their family compared to someone that's actually trying to victimize children. I think that's a higher stake that I should be thinking about more than someone who's willfully taking drugs.
There's a huge difference. Exactly. That's an adult that decided I want to do this thing to myself, whereas those children, they don't even have the capacity to think that way. They don't know that they're being manipulated. They don't know that they can go tell somebody because that fear has been, introduced to them. They don't know. So, yeah, that's a whole bunch of nonsense.
What age do you think a child knows right from wrong?
Right from wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to deal with the 3 different levels of knowledge and attainment, because you can know right from wrong, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you understand to a place where you can make a rational decision and choice. So you're talking about knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. And I don't think that you're going to deal with wisdom until you're 25. I mean, that's scientific. Let's be real. So, I mean, it all depends on what the purpose of the question was. I mean, as a mother, I'm not going to allow my daughter to date a man that I know is too old for her.
But let's talk about and we don't know what type of tactics that these predators use in order to make children not tell their parents too.
Right.
So it's threatening their parents and telling, all kind of scare tactics that they might use. So you can't really say that the kids was wrong for not telling their parents, but for just us, just for a solution for other kids that's in this situation, what would be the best thing to do if they had been assaulted and they want to tell their parents but they're afraid somehow? What do you think that they should do in that situation?
Children need to talk to someone, to an adult. I mean, again, it boils down to science. You are not able to make the correct logical decision. That means you have fully thought it out, consequences, repercussions. You cannot do it.
Yeah.
Talk with an adult, someone that's over 25, and give them the opportunity to provide you with counsel. The scripture says that there is safety in a multitude of counsel. Don't try to make decisions on your own if you're under 25. Consult with other people. Get other people's advice, because they will tell you whether you're being manipulated, coerced, or about to engage in some activity that could be detrimental to your health and have a lifetime ramification. It could be worse than a child. There is something wrong with a man who is not seeking a woman in his age range and needs a child that's vulnerable and gullible. There's something wrong there, that a man is even looking to have a relationship sexual with a child.
So I agree with that, but what do we say when the generation that we have, they're saying to you, me, and everybody that's older than 18 in this room, yeah, or this is what they want to go after because he provides all the pills or all the weed or all the liquor, you know what I mean? There's more to it than just saying go talk to an adult. They don't want to talk to us right now.
The truth of the matter is we have a lot of displaced purpose, and we need to realize what our purpose is on this earth. And our purpose is not just for immediate gratification, be it sex or drugs. Our purpose is much deeper than that. We should be trying to build legacies. Isn't this called the legendary? We need to be a legend. You cannot be a legend in your own right if your whole life is predisposed to immediate gratification.
I'm going to say something. I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
But it starts in the hood. Like when we go to the hood and, the mama is, wanting the boyfriend, to come spend the night and showing, man, it starts in the hood. We got to clean that up first because that's transferring to our girls. You feel me? What was that show that they was doing in Atlanta? And they was just wilding. Y'all know the name? It was hip hop. What was it?
Love and Hip Hop.
It was Love and Hip Hop. Love and Hip Hop showed a lot of different avenues that our girls ran towards and wanted to be like. So all that negative attention that the girls is getting, Like you said, they want to be with a man with pulling up in candy paint, gold rims. That's attractive to them.
Now, I want to also interject there. When you think about it, I mean, I remember when we all was in high school, it was the girls you couldn't holler at because they had the boyfriend that was already 34, got him on the apartment, and pick him up like that. Yeah. So, I mean, is this because like we spoke about the internet being, you know what I'm saying, the new frontier of it, but is this something that just, are people into? Like, I don't get it, because to me, I've always liked older women to begin with. Right. Is there a thing where dudes are just into young chicks, period? It's easy.
But, well, I think that this is a separation, though. Like, high school, these are 12-year-old girls, man. These are babies. It's unacceptable. You can't be into a 12-year-old. Like, that's a big difference than us being in high school and a 16-year-old girl is talking to a drug dealer that's pulling up to the school.
But is it really? A freshman is 14.
But 12 to 16 is a difference. Yes.
Is it really? This same man,
I think it is.
This same man probably had a 12-year-old up in the trap with him. This same man. It's not different. Well, a freshman is 12 to 12.
Is 12 to 16 different to you?
I mean, I think the logical reasoning that the men are using is the same. They want a young girl who is not going to care about a lot of the, issues that a grown woman is going to care about.
Right.
That 12 to 16-year-old is going to have the same level of standards. You could buy me some McDonald's. You can take me for a ride in your car. You got a car to pick me up in. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. It's easy. It's easy, and that's what they're after.
But I think the man, see, you sit here and say you can't be into a 12-year-old. You ain't seen 12-year-olds running around here looking like Beyonce on a regular. That's all they care about. They don't care about your age because they didn't ask your age.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Maybe it's because all my daughters are like over 12 years old in ages. They was babies at that point, and I can just associate that and say like, damn, I think that is a huge difference, man. I don't know. And then I also heard that the legal age of consent starts at 16 in Ohio.
Right. It is
much different than 12. So they factored some kind of either ability to reason or whatever for making that the cutoff point. Like, why is a 16-year-old allowed to have consensual sex with a grown person a grown person in Ohio?
Technically, they can. It's still considered statutory rape. They can consent to the sex, but it's still statutory rape if they're under 18.
And the parent does not say, yeah, I was okay with it.
The parent still has to consent.
The parent has to consent. That's an interesting law, man. I mean, what do you think the legal age? We get into dicey territory because once y'all say no 16, you're gonna be looked at kind of tough.
Yeah, you are.
Because if you look at just what I presented to you earlier, the prosecutor being charged with rape shows you that these laws are based by people that really don't care about that. I think they do that just for some fact of shoving people up. Because if I'm not mistaken, in other countries, it's lower in other countries.
Well, in our group chat, we talk about the stories that we're going to present before we actually come on the air with them. And so there is inside the group chat, the argument is going to say, well, in the Bible days, in the biblical days, they was allowing men to take wives at 12 years old. And in some of these other countries, you got military fighters going off fighting at 12 years old. And you become a man, and when a woman gets her period, that's nature saying that she's a woman. So are these philosophies being used to give credibility to these, what we're calling predators, what I would call a predator? How do you say
I'm going to say
the Bible
to a
is
certain
wrong?
extent, but no, I don't even think they're considering what the Bible says, might not even know what it says. But I say we're not living in Bible times, first of all, so you got to take that into consideration. Second of all, the Bible might say that they took wives, but these cats ain't taking wives. They just out here running through our little 10, 12, 14-year-old girls. They're not taking wives. So there goes some holes. Secondly, or lastly, the Bible also says that we should conduct ourselves with all reasonableness. That's not reasonable, first of all, that you out here running through 10-year-old, 12-year-old girls. It's also not possible for her to be working with this reasonableness.
So we got comments. Go ahead, James. Yeah, we got it.
When these girls was taken as wives, what did they have to do? Go to the father. They had to deal with the father. They didn't just say, "Ooh, she nice." Right. They had to deal with the father. So somebody had some reasonableness in the situation.
So we got Griselda Haynes.
Shout out to Griselda, man.
She's saying that women aren't showing the young ladies how to properly care for themselves and carry themselves. And then Brittany Nicole Scott says freshmen are not 12. Freshmen are about 14 at least. I don't care if you effing with a 12-year-old. I don't care the situation. You're gross.
Correct.
They are 12 years old. They're thinking they're grown. But if you can't tell a 12-year-old is not grown, is not a grown woman, then something is wrong. These men just don't give a F. And the little girls are being groomed and they don't know any better.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's what I said. We need more mentoring programs. Statistics have shown that when a child has a mentor, they're more likely to graduate from high school. They're more likely to pursue some level of profession. They're more likely to avoid becoming excessive drug users or alcoholics. We need to be mentoring our young children. Every child in the urban core should have a mentor. Shout out to Gina McDonald, Developing Butterflies. We have several groups that have been doing awesome work. The one group, the women, the young girls, Gems.
Gems. Yeah.
Dayton Gems. Shout out to them. O-Flag. What is it? O-Lag? Y-Lag?
I'm not sure about that one, but Gems comes and get shirts made from us.
Yeah, Y-Lag is another one. They've been putting up bulletin boards. It's real good billboards. We need to be able to see what success looks like. And so that's beautiful that we are learning how to respect ourselves and show ourselves in a positive light. Because if we don't do it, we're not going to get it. Media's not going to give it to us. Everybody not running around randomly shooting people.
But this man is riding around with a truck full of teens. I mean, we've had stories before where they keep them locked up in a basement or they do something.
Oh, he out there riding with them.
Don't know. Yeah. But they out joyriding, drinking and driving.
I want to know where the parents were. I want to know. I want to know where the parents are, because that right there.
They was out drinking and driving too.
Perhaps.
So should parents be charged in situations like this if they find out that the parents just wasn't paying close enough attention?
It's negligence. It's neglect. That's child neglect.
I definitely think so too.
Yeah. On that one, I think that you really should have to be able to prove it, because we slick when we kids. I don't know about y'all, but
I know we are. We are.
To this day, she was like, "You did what?" You know what I mean? So.
I mean, even my children, they like, we used to take your truck. I'm like, you used to take my truck when I was going to church and working at the school. You were stealing my truck when I was asleep.
You know, nowadays off that gas meter, back in the day, you get away with it. Now we drive 5 minutes down the street, that thing go from a full to a quart.
Oh, they put gas in it, obviously.
Right.
Because I don't even remember missing no gas.
So we got this story here too about the young lady who went out to dinner and then expected her boyfriend to pay for everybody. Yes. So, like, even though this might have been a skit, just with the family structure now, Kenya, I'm gonna come to you on this one first. So, do you think? Let me try to pull this up one good time.
Dayton Public School has a program, females of color and males of color mentors who are in school 24/7. Thank you, Griselda.
So this story right here, and this is for everybody to also call in, 937-991-0025. The young lady is mad because her boyfriend didn't pay for 18 guests at her birthday dinner. All right, and while this might seem kind of silly, there is another overarching theme to ask. What is actually required for a man to do in order to be considered to be a real good man and a provider? If you guys are living together and he's fully capable of paying for everything in the household, should he, just because he's a man? Or is 50-50 the way that it should go in order to make sure that a woman is strong enough to take care of herself if something happens to him? And then can y'all get your take first? Go ahead, Kenya. It's on you.
I mean, it's an interesting concept. It's funny because when you first brought this story up, I thought you were talking about the guy that was supposed to pay for the children, all of the children. But it's kind of in some ways the same concept. Like, what responsibility and obligations do we put on our men? And then, is it fair? Is it reasonable? Is it rational? I think it depends on like the nature of the relationship, because sometimes men get with women and they get with them under the pretense and the premise that, hey, I'm the baller, I'm the provider, I'm the supporter, you know, you can lay back and chill. A woman has a job, you know, and it's an interesting dynamic, because no matter what, I'm going to be the one that's going to do the dishes. I'm going to be the one that's making sure the house is clean. I'm going to be the one that's making sure it's updated. I'm going to be the one that's going to launder the clothes. You know, I'm going to do all the things that I do naturally and instinctively. And in return, I just want to be treated fairly. Like, I would never show up to a restaurant with 18 of my friends and be like, hey, babe, you got us? I mean, I think that there should have been some discussion in advance as far as about that arrangement. You talking about 20 people. I'm sure it wasn't a cheap restaurant. They didn't look like they were the type to patronize Mickey D's for the birthday. Nah, that looked like 4 stars. Yeah. So you probably talking about $40, $50 a head. I'm being nice. Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be a bag. Like, you trying to take his Tupac knot. Right. And he might have a little problem with that. So I mean, it should have been a conversation in advance. Then she goes into grading him and telling him he a broke a nigga. Right. You know, nah. He not, but you treating him like that. You trying to speak that over him. You treating him like that, and you pulling his whole card. Like, she ain't giving no opportunity. Tell him that in advance. It's about understanding their relationships. There should be an understanding. That understanding needs to come as early as possible. You know, a lot of women I notice, oh, you don't tell a man everything, and you shouldn't talk about things at first. Why? Are you looking for a serious relationship? Right. Then disclose everything and have an open, upfront understanding. Amongst all things, get an understanding. Like this brother said, it's about reasonableness. You can't be reasonable if you don't know where somebody coming from. Like, just have some discussions, people. Like, use your brain. It is more to life than what's below your waist. Like,
call the show 937-991-0025.
Use your brain. I just think people need to use their brain and come up with compromises that can be peaceable.
But if you got a man and he can afford to pay for everything, should he pay the whole mortgage or the whole rent and all the household bills? I mean, that's a discussion to be had. Like, I think people need to have a lot more financial planning. Would you look at him as weak?
No.
If he asked you to pay half but he could afford to pay it all? Let's say that he's bringing in $100,000 a year.
No.
Profit.
I would not.
Profit, and your rent is $1,000 a month.
No, I would not look at him as being weak.
If he asked you to pay half of the rent?
If he asked me to pay half of the rent, I would not look at him as being weak.
What's her finances?
I mean, that kind of matters, but it kind of don't. I mean, it does matter.
Let's say that she's making $30,000 a year.
I mean,
he asked her to pay for half.
Contribute.
And he's paying half of all. Half of all the utilities. Is that weak?
I say that's kind of unreasonable, actually. She making less than a third of what he makes, and you want to go 50-50. Don't get me wrong. Again, like she said, what conversation did we have? If the conversation was, when we walk into this relationship, I got you, then he's supposed to have her. But that's a old traditional concept. Mm-hmm. If that's the way you trying to live, then like she said, I need to do the traditional stuff on my end.
It's laws on the books that say it's going to be 50-50. You walk out that door.
If I do everything, when I come home, I don't do nothing.
Hey, I don't think he should have paid, the whole tab, but it's all about how did they invite him? Did they say it was a party, or did they just say, hey, come out and eat with us, since my birthday? They know they supposed to have paid. She know that was wrong. She was just trying to, make a baller situation. But that's just like in a relationship. Every relationship is 50-50, but some days he ain't going to have it. You got his back. Some days she ain't going to have it. You have her back. But the thing about nowadays, men, they here independent, you know what I'm saying? And I just was talking to my friend about this yesterday. He's like, oh, I'm independent. Oh, you too independent. You don't need a nigga. No, that's not saying I don't need a man. I need a man for a lot of things, but at the same time, these men don't even want to help out doing things, so we have to do it on our own, so they go with the independence, and they get mad. Don't need them when they ain't even coming through. But back on that, I don't think he should have had to pay. Now, if they was throwing a party, but the food already been catered, but that's different. He didn't have to pay for none of them.
Is a man that is willing to come in and pay for you guys' living situation in a serious situation and not asking you to go in half with him, is a man that would come in and pay for everything more attractive? A man that is providing all things?
No, because there's stipulations behind that, and I had that before. Like, literally, he came in, I didn't have to pay no rent, no bills, no nothing. But I couldn't go many places. I couldn't, it was just a lot of things behind it.
It's give and take.
But now...
What about a man that treats you with the right amount of respect, but still is willing to pay anything? Is everything? Is he more attractive?
Yes.
No, because it's never about the money, Because when he's down, you still got to be there.
What about if he doesn't pay for anything?
As a man, that's more.
What about if he doesn't pay? What about if he doesn't pay for anything and wants you to pay for everything? Is he less attractive?
Hell yeah, because that ain't how it's supposed to be.
How could a man?
That was down. I met him when he was down, and then, like I said, but once he got up, it was like it was a rap. Like he shitted on me. You know what I'm saying? So. I ain't stepping in no relationship with a Z. He ain't got nothing. He can have a hoopty. He got to at least have his own spot because that move-in stuff nowadays is crap. But if I got a man that want to pay for everything, man, I'm going to have his back 100. I'm going to let him do it, but I don't want him to throw it up in my face either.
Right. I don't think throwing it up in your face, but in the times where you forget, just to remind you. I'm just messing with you. Thank you, Tosh. Thank you. That was a great call. We appreciate you. Make sure you... like our YouTube video too.
For sure. And, I want to add to that. The same advice I get to my sister, same advice I get that I'm getting my daughter eventually. If you give somebody the ability to feed you, then you also give them the ability to starve. Always be about your own bag. Always be about yours. And it all depends on what y'all agree on. Because then you can only be mad at the breaking of disagreement. If we agree, okay, we're going to do it this way, then that's the only point of contention. If it's just ambiguous to a point where y'all ain't making no rules or nothing, you can't be mad at
Don't be mad.
For you
right.
If we never agreed on
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I say. We don't understand standards no more. Like, we don't even create them together. We just let things go. It's just ambiguous.
Should we allow somebody else to determine who you are as a person based on how they act? So, for example, if I act mean to you, you become a mean person and be mean back towards me, or should you be yourself regardless?
I carry myself with a certain level of integrity that disrespect that you would think would get to me wouldn't, to the point where you be second guessing like yourself. Like, why are you being mean to this person that only being respectful to you?
Right. And so just because somebody expects you to, they say, look, going half is fine with me, but you feel in your heart as a man that you want to provide and do everything it is for this situation in your family. Now, she can go and pay her own other stuff that she got, her own private things, but just like the household situation, just paying for all of those things, just because do you think, like, some guys won't do it because they think and they've heard that that's some sucker stuff to do, but in their heart they really want to do it?
I don't think it's that. I mean, like, a lot of times, like, especially like this day and age, right, with with the emergence of the black woman getting higher paying jobs sometimes, so like you have a dude that's literally not there yet. You know what I'm saying? He got a potential. He in school right now. So you have that dynamic. I think it's all about the age group you in. So, for instance, like, my son right now, 18, he got a little job that don't pay that much. He in school right now. He has a girlfriend.
Right.
And for them to get together, she probably could
need to.
Yeah,
need to
you know
help
what I mean?
out.
Like they
Right.
would have to meet 50-50 if they were gonna be together. Because
Right.
they both, neither one of them got it by themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's all variable. It all depends on that time that y'all
It
waste.
definitely does.
In the talking stage. Y'all waste that time in the talking stage. Y'all be talking about everything else, the size and pictures and all that. Y'all sending that. But y'all ain't talking about future planning together.
All right, so we got a couple of minutes left. We got 20 minutes left, Kenya, and this is the reason why I invited you on the show is because last time you were here, you were doing a lot of cool stuff. Like you in front of me, I still got the video. Like you was setting people up. You was giving out jobs.
Yes.
You was I think even maybe donating time, maybe turkeys. It was a bunch of stuff. You was like literally making moves.
Right.
And then when you left here that day, what happened?
So I had some group home children. As you know, many people know, I've been working in the group home industry since I left the classroom, amongst other things. And I have a group home that I had interest in. And so I had those children to pick up trash on Salem. And I met them basically at the market where I was doing a community survey. I had everything set up with pencils and, papers for people to fill out and conceptual designs. And when I got there to collect the things and had the children meet me there, they had used up all their trash bags and we need to buy more trash bags. So I took them to the next cleanup spot. They, told me as I was going, because they had wanted some mochas from the store, Gem City Market, shout out. And so I went back down to Third Perk, shout out Third Perk, to get them some mochas, and I left them at the dollar store with a $100 bill. And when I got back, I saw police, and I didn't see my children anywhere. So I was very concerned about my children, rode up to the corner at Central, try to see if maybe they had took off, walking, maybe had started cleaning already. Because I did leave them with $100 and, the trash bags and the gloves. But I didn't see them anywhere. So I get back to the dollar store where I seen the police had been there when I rode by. And the 2 officers were coming out. And I tried to ask the officers, hey, officers, what's going on? And they immediately responded, shut the F up and stay the F back. And I was kind of shocked and appalled. I mean, here I am as an activist a block away from, the grocery store that I helped design. And now you got some community police, and they were, really handling me rough. And so I was like, okay, what's going on? So I pay attention to their trajectory, and they're headed over to the rallies. And when I look over at the rallies, I see my residents standing at the order window. Okay. So then I asked the officers again at a distance, officers, is everything okay? Those residents, those boys are in my care through the county. And they basically just reiterated, stay the F back or else we're going to get you for obstruction.
Cuss words?
Yes, cuss words. Conveniently, though, their audio, when I was given the opportunity to view the audio from the body cam, their audio did not come on until after we were across the street. So we get across the street to rallies, I'm staying the F back and shutting the F up. I'm standing up on the grass. And they're frisking my boys. And
then you got belligerent with them in any way?
I'm telling you word for word. I'm telling you word for word exactly what happened. It was just this simple.
So they had an attitude with you just off the rip?
Just me pulling up in my Lincoln with 2 mochas. That's it.
I'm listening to you.
Yeah, I was really shocked. But it may make a little bit more sense as I tell this story and repeat the events that happened. So I'm standing up in the grass, and then they start putting cuffs on my boys. And so at that point, I asked my boys, hey, boys, what's going on?
How old are they approximately?
17.
Okay.
And my boy says, one of them, I stole a can of Cheese Whiz. I'll just pay for it. As he's reaching in this, reaching in this pocket. And I said, you gonna pay for it. You stole a can of Cheese Whiz. So now my mind is reeling. These officers then cuss me out, accuse me of obstruction for a can of Cheese Whiz. Clearly you can see these boys have bags, trash bags, they have gloves. Like, they've been out cleaning up the entire block of Salem. You didn't see them? They picked up 9, 12 bags of trash. You haven't saw them?
So they did say that you are under the threat of obstruction at some portion of this exchange.
As we were crossing the street.
Okay.
They said that they were going to get me for obstruction. Obstruction. I'm obstructing the justice of them finding the missing can of Cheese Whiz.
Wow.
So I said, you stole a can of Cheese Whiz. I just gave you $100. What you mean you stole a can of Cheese Whiz? So the officer says, you're going to get arrested. And I said, arrest me? I'm disgusted. Arrest me for what? And he immediately came over and started grabbing this arm, my right arm, and like trying to put it behind my back. And it was cut up, had a scratch on it. And I'm like, why are you touching me? Please take your hands off of me. Officer, you have no right to touch me. Please take your hands off of me. So he's the white officer. The black officer says, do you need help? And so the black officer comes over. I'm assuming that the white officer who had my right arm must have nodded to him or something. He comes over immediately, grabs my left arm, takes it up behind my back, and hits it. And you could hear it crack. It was an audible crack. And they put me in cuffs. They tried to sit me on the curb, but I didn't understand that. Like, why would I be set on the ground? And you're further diminishing, you know what I'm saying, my livelihood. You got me out here on Salem. Yeah. I'm trying to do something good for my community, and you have turned it into something atrocious over a can of Cheese Whiz. I knew my arm was destroyed at that time. You know, I really wanted medical attention, but I did not feel safe in the car or being with those officers. So when they offered me medical attention, I just told them I would take care of it myself.
I have a question. So is this your first interaction with this officer? Like out the clear blue sky, your first time ever seeing him, or your first time of him seeing you?
Never saw the officer before in my life.
Okay.
I never saw either one of these officers before in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I did discover from an officer that these officers have been involved in other activities in the community that involved brutality.
Were these people of color that were assaulted?
That were assaulted, my residents.
No, so like a previous
yes,
interaction with the
yes, in the community, yes.
Okay.
I mean, and the point is, like, my arm still doesn't fully extend. I still don't have full range of motion on my arm, and I think it goes a step further to when, like, you can't really get a civil rights attorney locally that will take a case against the police department.
So you also had some issues when you went to the doctor. Can you go about that? When like you originally went, you had where like the nurse didn't give you the attention that you needed.
Basically, yeah, she basically read the paper and saw that it was the police that did it, and she told me when the first hospital I went to that my x-ray was fine. There was nothing wrong with my x-ray. But I was in so much pain that night, I went back to the hospital the next morning to a different hospital. And that's when they told me that it was my arm was fractured.
Wow.
And I had a loose piece of bone. It was a piece of bone that was loose in there, yeah.
Yeah, so like you haven't reached out to, well, you haven't had anybody that have stepped in to help you with this when it comes to like internal investigation. Have you had any interaction like that, like internal investigation or anything like that?
I filed a report with the Human Relations Council and with the Internal Affairs and with the NAACP, but I was told that somebody from the city basically instructed these organizations that if they help me file any type of suit that I never work in the city again.
Wow. Yeah. So with them being threat of that, no one wants to really come help you out in a situation. So what do you think should be the next course of action for you to actually receive the justice that you are rightfully due?
I mean, I'm hoping that somebody, you know what I'm saying, hear this podcast, maybe they have a civil rights attorney or are a civil rights attorney, and, you know, they can reach out to me. And I'm available through my email, KenyaBakerBooks@gmail.com. I mean, I would love to talk to someone who has the legal expertise in order to bring justice. You know, I couldn't even continue with physical therapy because it was too costly and they needed, you know, to get paid. You know, you got to pay medical bills. So I did as much as I could, but I would like to continue with some physical therapy. You know, I'm mentally traumatized. A lot of the community committees that I was on with regards to police reform, I had to resign from because I just did not feel comfortable, you know, even being in the presence. And then to add insult to injury,
no pun intended.
We hosted the African Liberation Day at Dayton View Park, which we had renamed Liberation Park, and we wanted the park to be a little bit more well kept than it was. You know, we had to remove some dead animals. The gazebo was, you know, just riddled with the animal feces, so we had to get it power washed before we could hold our event, pushed our program back 2 hours. So the elders had asked me to go to the commissioner meeting and talk about it. Well, at the commissioner meeting on July 1st, the very officer who broke my arm was getting a promotion. They promoted him to assistant recruiter.
I want to pause the story just for a second. This person has already had alleged other instances of brutality, and then for you to be victim of that as well. How did you feel in that moment, seeing him being honored like some hero at this meeting?
I was disgusted. I mean, like flabbergasted. Like I felt like I was in. It was before I had an opportunity to go up and speak, so I just let you can watch it. It's available for, you know, review. But I told him I felt like I was in a bizarro world. Like it didn't even feel real. I mean, it just didn't feel real at all. This incident happened with me on October 6th, 2021, and now July just so happened the time that I'm here at this commission meeting. He's getting a promotion right here in my face. I couldn't even believe it. I was shocked. Very embarrassed, and just I really feel like what is my community doing for all that I do? You know, I'm talking about out in the middle of the night picking up trash, paying people at, you know, gas stations to pick up trash so that when people leave the club, they don't feel like trash. Their community has got a little cleanliness to it. Maybe that'll persuade them to have better behaviors, not be so violent with one another. These are the things that my heart make my body do. And so I'm really in a place now of perplexed. Like, where are my black men? Like, what's going on with my community for real? Like, it reminds me of an organization right now in Cleveland that's been doing a lot of community work, crisis intervention, mediation, conflict mediation, and then the police come and attack them and unjustly arrest one of them. Now, mind you, this group has found 3 missing girls that the police could not find.
Wow.
3 missing girls missing over a year. They didn't located them, but the police taking their time to arrest them and give them a hard time. So my question is, like, what are we doing to organize ourselves into internal structures where we do not have to constantly be the victim? Because I'm not interested in being a victim. I want my community to be beautified. I want better aesthetics on the west side. I want to live a liberated life. I want to be free,
yes,
to live how we believe we should live. But we're in charge of that. And so I'm just trying to find ways of being able to secure, you know, a better future for my children and for your children, so that we don't have these stories of, you know, Kwasi Casey and Kylan English and Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. These stories are getting old. Like, what are we doing to make sure that these are not just a repeating theme in our community?
Right. What's your reaction?
I just wanted to, like, make a point and ask a question. You said he was being promoted to assistant recruiter. So if he already has issues and instances where he's been a violent criminal against citizens of the community,
right,
that says a lot about who he would recruit.
Exactly.
And what kind of officers we would be getting on our force.
Yes.
Says a lot.
Well, the other officer that was with him was actually one of the officers that was with Kylan English when he supposedly kicked out the window and jumped off the bridge.
Right, that happened, I'm sure.
And I don't know if he was a sergeant before that incident or after, but he's a sergeant now. But I would beg to test whether he was a sergeant before. And it would be sad. It would be a sad case in America if our policing departments are giving out promotions through the FOP or any other agency based off of brutalizing citizens. If that's the criteria, that's a sad state in America. Just as sad as the insurrection.
Wow. SMED, your reaction?
It's just it's tough, man. It's tough. Of course, you don't want to see any sister being brutalized by anybody, and especially somebody like Kenya, because she's out here trying to fight to just better the community. Like, she's literally having people pick up trash and doing her own trash pickup events and just always speaking out, like working with the Gem City Market. Like, Kenya is just all for betterment and accountability and holding ourselves accountable as well. So, you know, we ain't trying to see nobody brutalize our queen like that. And we just, I don't know, man, this shit is terrible. Real Neighborhood News, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Legal expert resident Chimo calling in.
Chimo.
What's up? This is our legal expert right here.
Yeah.
He's gonna talk. So are you, Chim, which one are you what legality are you gonna talk about now?
First, the young lady who obstructed the cops, and they had to rough her up a little bit. They stole cheese whiz, so they committed a crime. You can't be rolling up on cops when they're doing their investigation, no matter how small it might seem to us. It's a crime, so they have to secure that crime scene. That's a crime scene. You can't roll up on those cops. They don't know if you're bringing emotional support or a packet of meters. They get shot all day with people compromising a crime scene. That cheese whiz is a crime. They stole the cheese whiz. They need the crime scene secured. And when people come and obstruct justice, no matter how small it seems, they get themselves into trouble. And you know, it might turn into what we think is racial, but it's not. It's not nothing to do with race. It's just doing people their job and protecting themselves as officers of the law. I mean, Maddie just said last week, it's tough being a cop. You can't just have people rolling up on a crime scene. You have to wait and let them. You don't come to them.
So he doesn't find any level of validity in the fact that those boys were minors and I was the one that was advocating for them?
So she said that the kid,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're minors. They committed a crime. Crime doesn't stop for people that are over 18. Juveniles go to juvenile court. They go to court just like adults do. That's the thing. It has to be situated with the courts. They're not asking for birth certificates and social security numbers right there. They just know a crime's being committed. They're securing their crime, and all that other stuff can be played out when they go to court. So the advice I can give to people and to people that commit crimes is just let the law play out, and everything will be okay. If everybody just relaxes for 5 minutes, people don't get shot, people don't get their arms broken, because you have some cops that are looking for the aggression so they can get back aggressive. So when you roll up on their scene and they tell you to stay back, that's serious business.
So,
all right,
I'm gonna ask you a question real quick.
Hold on, we got a question for you.
So, I mean, to me, that was excessive. I mean, like, even for, I mean, like, that situation, I understand. I mean, like, you don't use a nuke to deal with an ant problem. You know what I mean? You have least lethal things that could have been done. Such as, I mean, she's a woman. I'm not saying that women aren't strong and powerful, and she's more powerful than a lot of men. But at that point, there should be some other course of action, not just rough her up, make her sit on the curb like a You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And handcuff and break her arm.
The internal affairs investigated the officer, and that's what surprised me about his promotion as well. He was investigated by internal affairs, and they decided their final conclusion was that he needed more training. So they.
And I agree with that. More training is always a great thing with law enforcement because, like you said, some things don't have to be elevated.
Exactly.
That's absolutely correct. The thing that the other side needs to realize, they can't cross the line of obstruction either, because you have officers that are not as trained to deal with people that obstruct justice in a minor way. Because any parent or any facilitator like he is to young adults, of course he's going to be emotionally invested in these kids, of course. So it takes a trained officer with experience to say, hey, this is not a person with a weapon. This is a person with two Coca Loca Mocos or whatever she had in her hand, rather than a person coming on the scene with a weapon and trying to do damage to him. So more training is.
And police officers need to be in the business.
We need more training as people too on what our jobs are supposed to be in the business when law enforcement are trying to do their job.
Hold on, we got another question for you.
It's real ambiguous as to what crossing that line is. What's the distance I'm supposed to have? Because they don't want you to witness what they're doing. Oftentimes, they don't want you to film. They don't want you. You know what I mean? So
the cops will tell you on the scene, and you can watch thousands of videos. The cops will tell you when you're too close. Step back. They tell you that right there. Step back.
Man, I've watched them run people all the way down the street so that they can't film the crimes that they're committing.
And
so it's ambiguous.
There's a new law in Texas that I just seen that you can't be within 8 feet of the actual arrest that's taking place.
See, that's
while
fair.
you're filming.
Tell me what that is.
Okay, well,
but some of these get backs are to hide.
I was 8 feet away from the officers. The officer actually chased me backwards. I was 8 feet, but when I challenged his authority, he started chasing me.
The cop's discretion, not the person.
It shouldn't
be to the cop's discretion. That's right. Because you can tell me go home or you're obstructing justice.
It has to be because it can't be to the person's discretion because
it can't be to the person's discretion.
It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be to either of their discretion. Let it be a rule of thumb.
So those are two different crimes. You can't contaminate a crime scene within 500 feet within a crime. Okay, because you're tampering with evidence maybe that they need. So number one, it has to be the cop's discretion because you're contaminating the scene on forensic evidence, DNA evidence, all kinds of stuff. So
Cheese whiz, and they walked across the street. I think you're reaching.
Well, he said
and police cannot.
It's different from murder or cheese whiz. With a murder, you can't contaminate it.
Law enforcement cannot question a child without their parent present, and I was their guardian.
Oh.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
Why not?
If they're caught in a crime, in a thing, the cops can question a juvenile on what happened. They can't question it.
Well, they created the escalation when they started cussing me out. They should be in the business of de-escalating. They started cussing me out when I just asked friendly, "Hey, officers, is everything okay?"
Well, and then this is the other side of what you're saying, Chim, is I actually respect what you're saying, but there is a factor that we are leaving out, is that sometimes police are over aggressive. And sometimes you get police officers who over enforce the law and
all the time they're overly aggressive.
Exactly.
And they scary.
And so they have to understand
Look at those
understand that being over aggressive is the training that they need in order to kind of like calm down and relax the situation. Because on the other end of it, Kenya getting her arm broke, which is doing too much. Like, she shouldn't be leaving out of this exchange with a broken arm.
Now let me ask a question to her. When did they decide to grab her arm and twist it to break it? What happened in that instance where they just said, now you're going too far, ma'am. I'm going to grab your arm. What happened? I didn't hear that on the video.
I was standing back at the distance that they asked me to stand at. And when I discovered that they had stolen a can of Cheese Whiz, and I asked the boy, what do you mean you stole a can of Cheese Whiz? That is when the officer came at me because he had threatened to arrest me. And I asked him, arrest me for what? And that's when he came at me, and I was walking backwards. I was already at a reasonable distance. I was 6 to 8 feet away from him.
Screaming and yelling in the
No, I was not. I was
face.
6 to 8 feet away from him.
Right.
So, see, you telling me while you were walking back away from the scene, the cop came to you, twisted your arm for asking a question while walking back?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because he wanted me to shut up. He wanted me to be quiet. And he did not like the fact that I challenged his authority by asking him, what would he be arresting me for?
Yeah.
It's on videotape. It's all on the body cam.
Do we have the videotape of this so we can concur that this is actually what happened?
Well, this is what. Well, look.
Yeah, I have it.
Let's take her at her
public
word.
knowledge.
Let's take her at her word that these things happen, and then when we do take her at her word, it sounds like you think that the police officers was in the wrong if what she's saying is true.
Well, I don't like to say take her at her word or not take her at her word, because when you're emotionally invested, you might accidentally leave out some details that other people might see.
Nah.
Okay, this is why they were justified into doing this, because they gave you a
I already said that. I have a video.
Yeah, we got the video.
Now, if I can see the video, I can make a determination if they were justified in their actions or not justified.
Well, according to the internal investigation,
they were not
said
justified.
They needed more training.
They need more
because
training.
They didn't handle it right. They need to be trained to do a more
And according to
efficient
the
job.
criminal defense department,
did you get charged with anything?
I didn't get charged with anything. I never received a ticket. The only thing that I received in writing was the opportunity to put a use of force complaint together at the site. That's the only thing that was ever done, period.
What do you think about that, Jim? She wasn't ever charged.
Because I didn't commit any
anything, yet
crime.
She got a broken arm in this situation.
Usually in that situation, they look at it as, well, she's learned her lesson for whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's how they look at it. We're not going to charge her because she's had enough. She has to go to the hospital. She has enough. They usually don't charge her. It's just like when they pulled this guy out of the car, the alleged paraplegic. They need more training, okay? But they was
3 days before they did this to me.
But one side or the other has to be right.
Right.
One side or the other has to be right. And if they said they need more training, they was wrong.
Yeah, if they need more training, they was wrong. And if she was doing such a rambunctious act in order to have her arm broken, certainly she should get a ticket and go to jail.
And do not forget, the NAACP had an opportunity.
It should.
Need more training.
Can he be quiet for 1 second?
Hold on, Jim. Let her get her point out real quick. Go ahead.
Okay.
Please do not forget the main point also. The NAACP had an opportunity to review the body cam and said that I had a civil rights violation. But when they confronted the city government, they were told that if I file a suit, I will not work in this city again.
Who told you that? Who told you that?
The NAACP.
If the NAACP told you that, the NAACP is full of shit like they've always been. The NAACP has always been full of shit. I would have just went and got an attorney, a regular attorney. Fuck the NAACP. If they violated your civil rights and they injured you, you should be getting pain and suffering injury. Michael Wright, you can just call Michael Wright.
100%. I agree with that. And I think that it lends more credibility to your case that you was not filed, no charges were filed against you. You never went to jail. You never did any of these things. Yet you're leaving out of this situation with a broken arm.
Right.
I never did anything wrong.
The NAACP takes bribes from organizations,
probably
these departments, all that. I would just go file a complaint with Michael Wright, an attorney.
Yeah. I agree. Jim, thank you for the call, bro.
Thanks, man.
100%
All right.
tonight at 8 p.m.
All right.
All right. You guys, we about to go ahead and wrap this up, but I do want to go around the round table one time, give everybody an opportunity to say something in closing, and we're going to start with my king right here, bro.
Okay, how y'all doing? I'm Malik Akbar. I'm part of the McLean Voter League. I just want everybody to get out there and vote. Your vote does count. It's very important. And I want to remind y'all, we in the war, y'all, and we need every vote.
Who should they be voting for?
Voting for the black people, of course.
Is there any black people in specific?
Yes, we need to write in LaRonda Jackson. She's one of our candidates that we're getting behind. She's running for state representative in the 39th district. So if that's your district, find out what district you in, and we need y'all to write her in. LaRonda Jackson.
LaRonda Jackson. Okay. All right. Kenya?
I'm humbled by the opportunity to come and speak with you all, black brothers. I thank you for the opportunity and the time, all of the people that took their time. Time is one of your most precious commodities to call in and to share your opinions with us. So thank you. Again, humbled by the opportunity and look forward to coming back.
I just want to speak to everyone in general. There is a bridge out here, and on one side we have our young people, and on the other side we have the older people, the young heads, the old heads. We have to, as a community, as that village, we got to come up with a way where neither side feels like they're being lessened to have to walk up on that bridge so that we can meet.
And what I say every week, man, self-control, self-preservation, and self-respect, man. I think a lot of that goes a long way, and I think that's on both sides. I mean, like, even when you talk about treat people the same way you want to be treated, right? And those type of things are universal laws that work on both sides, no matter what color you are. And shout out to everybody that tuned into my Sell Stocks Not Dope Sunday presentation yesterday. What up?
Yes, sir. All right, you guys. So tonight, man, we got this looming situation with our bro Bruce KYD. We got Fredo Bang just now made a post saying that he needs to make a song called Fuck Bruce. Then Bruce has accused the Cooks of stealing this money for him that made him ultimately end up losing $50,000 in total. But the Cooks are real people. The Cooks are business owners, people trying to get their business off the ground, and they're working really hard to make a name for themselves. And all of these allegations have caused them to, not be able to work like they normally would be. So we're bringing the Cooks on tonight in order to be able to defend themselves against the allegations that was made against them. And that's tonight at 8 p.m.
Yes.
Bruce show is on Wednesday. He'll come in and be able to talk about what he has going on with Fredo Bang and much, much more. So that's the real neighborhood news we got coming tonight. We got, I'm calling them the Cooks, and we'll actually learn their names and find out what they say happened that night that Bruce $20,000 came up missing.
It's gonna be interesting, man.
You guys, every day, t-shirtkings247.com and Gold for Your Mouth, Camera Kings, Gold for Your Mouth in the Metaverse. Make sure y'all come and see us. We got the Super Summer Sale, 50 shirts for $250, giving you an opportunity to flip your money, buy shirts for $5, sell them for $10. So come through and see us. Man, big shout out to Griselda, who commented all day. We had Jasmine Grant, who commented all day with a very insightful comment. We didn't get a chance to read it. D Block Dumas, Celicia Denise Arnold, Brittany Nicole Scott, and everybody else. And even Beanut D Boss went in here and commented. And I wanted to say, do we got that birthday list?
On YouTube, we had Angel Moore and Kevin Easley check in with us in the comments too.
Man, what's up to Angel Moore and Kevin Ease? And I also wanted to give my birthday readings for
Reach out to who?
everybody today. Kamisha Black, happy birthday. Rodney Oliver, little Rodney, it's his birthday today. Happy birthday, little Rodney. And Sharika Michelle, Nish Lachey Snowden, and Derek Humphreys, man. Happy birthday to all of you guys, man. I hope y'all have a great birthday. And then if you ain't doing nothing, check in with us tonight on your birthday, man. We got a good story. It'll be something for you to watch. All right.